Ladies and guys who've wrapped up their identity in being a virgin and who are absolutely convinced that's not something they can change. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. This is a podcast that I did with a guy called Making a Comeback on my forums, Mac for short. He's also in my group coaching program, and he came to the group and he didn't believe that he would ever be able to lose his virginity. He was 29 when he first joined. He's still 29 now. And he was utterly convinced that even having sex with a woman ever, any woman ever, was going to be utterly impossible for him. He'd long since given up on that dream. It took a lot of convincing, and you'll see this in this interview, to even get him to a point where he thought, I think I want to lose my virginity. I think I can lose my virginity. And he set a deadline of December 31st this year, which is about 7 months away from this point in time. And I posted as a reply in the group, and I said, essentially, that's fucking bullshit. If you wanted to lose your virginity, he needs to lose weight as well. If you wanted to lose your virginity, you could go out and do that right fucking now. You could see an escort. You could bang a fat girl. Shout outs to all the fat women. I slept with a lot of fat women. Great way to get experience. You could go out and talk to 50 girls right now on the street. You could go on Tinder. You could go on Hinge. There's a million ways. You could make some more fucking friends and see if any of them have a single female friend that you could date. There are a million ways to lose your virginity. And I basically said, you're not even serious if you're saying December 31st. 7 months away. Are you fucking kidding me? You could do it right now. Either man up and fucking do it or piss off. I said, do it or keep making excuses. It's your life. 5 days later, I think it was like 4 days later, he comes back to the group and he's like, okay, I did it. I lost my virginity. I went and saw an escort. He saw a high-class escort. And he said, he was just ranting and raving. He's like, this was the most amazing experience of my life. I never thought anyone would want to sleep with me, even an escort. Like, I can't believe how nice she was to me, how much she mentored me and talked me through it. I told her that I was a virgin. She took me by the hand. She's the hottest woman I've ever seen in my entire life. At one point, I was like making her fucking feel good and she was moaning and shit. That was like a mind-blowing experience for me. He spent like an hour and a half with her. It was like an amazing experience. And regardless of your thoughts on, because I know some guys will hear me say that and be like, oh, an escort, that's cheating. Whatever you think about that, we cover that in this podcast. So stay tuned. It's an interesting discussion. And I think a lot of you guys who are virgins might have your mind changed by this podcast, by what he's done, by what I recommend. I think a lot of you will be surprised at my advice. So stay tuned. This is a killer interview. Really enjoyed chatting to him. If you want to join the coaching group and have your ass kicked by me and the other members of the group, I'll leave links in the description below to that. Enjoy.
Listen, man, this is a hell of a week for me. It is, believe me, it's quite difficult to put into words. It's a mixture of pride. It's a mixture of having your mind blown of something that you thought you simply couldn't do and doing it. It's an unreal thing. It's very kind of a perception changing. And, the world takes on a different color, different hue. I'm happy I'm getting up and I can't believe this is an adventure that's starting. And, there's so much like to life that I want to go out and do. And I feel really motivated now. It's tangible for me. And everything that I'm doing is taking on there's a new level of investment in it, bud. Like I've dropped weight. I'm the lightest I've been since I started using your forum. Everything is just on point now because I know I really can step up. So I'm very happy.
You say this has been a big week for you. Mate, this has been a big week for me, living like vicariously through other people. So you are the second person this week who's had their mind like, you think how much of a head fuck epiphany you've had. There's another guy who's done the same thing. I just released a video. It's coming out in a couple of days. With a guy that did some in-person coaching with me. And he did the same shit as you. And he was like, I can't talk to girls. It's going to take me like 7 months. He had this like little 7-month plan. And I was like, bro, this is bullshit. I'm going to make you talk to girls right now. And he's like, I can't do that. Half an hour later, he's talking to girls. At this point, he's talked to like 28 girls or something, 27 girls. He's gotten like 4 or 5 photos. And he's just like, I can't do any of this shit. Like, it's not possible. Because I took him out for 2 days. 2 days of me just systematically destroying the bullshit notions he had in his head. He's like, I can't talk to her. She's too hot. So I was like, shut the fuck up and go talk to her. And then she'd be really nice. And then he'd go, I can't talk to her because she's walking away from me. Like, she's walking too fast. And I'd be like, come on, pussy, we're going to chase after her. And we would, and he'd talk to her. It was like bullshit excuse. I can't do that yet. I'm not ready. Just like you. And it's like, Bro, you're ready as soon as
Yeah.
you decide that you're ready. Or another way of phrasing that is you're never going to be ready, so just do it anyway. Like, you don't have to wait for yourself to feel, I can do it now. It's like that day may not come.
That was exactly it for me. I had the same utter bullshit going around in my mind, and it was the same rationalizations. I'm too fat,
Mhm,
I'm too this, I'm too that. I don't feel ready yet.
mhm.
And what I will say is, the day after, everything took a different turn, and even the other things that were excuses for me, I'm more invested in sorting those out now. So I'm glad to hear someone else has had the same kind of consciousness splitting experience this week with you, Andy. Man, it's been a very special week for me. Very, very, very happy about it. And for me, I know a little bit because you told me about that particular story.
Mhm.
But for me, it was such a long time coming because, oh, connection.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
still here. You're still
it
here.
was a yeah. Okay, we'll make it work either way. But it was such a long time coming because I turned 30 in July, right? And um, for me, it was something that I'd say about 7 years, I thought it was simply beyond my reach. I thought my deep thinking was, because I didn't have this kind of experience in my formative years, because I haven't had these experiences, because so much time has passed now. I thought that part of me just hasn't developed, and nor will it. It's
Mhm.
too far gone. But what was incredible, and it's similar to what happened with this gentleman, you know, you put yourself in that environment and you have that new experience and it awakens something in you. That's what happened to me. I don't think I was necessarily feeling fully human before, but now I do feel just part of the experience like everyone else. I'm really, my life is like significantly better. Before, before that, I really had no concept of like intimacy, no concept of
Yeah.
kind of these really wonderful experiences we can have in life and how enriching and how healing they can be. I sincerely have been thinking about it like every minute, and it's just made me so happy, and it was enriching. What I kind of want to get across is, I needed that. I genuinely did.
Bro, there's a reason people say the meme like, oh, you need to get laid. It's not just like your dick getting in a pussy. It's like all the other shit. Like it's healing for the soul. That's your quote.
Mm, yeah, that really is it, bud. Without getting too detailed, I've never had anyone like hold me like that and just like really be that attentive to me, and
Yep.
make me and want me to feel good. So that was a very novel, interesting experience. It was very cool. I freaking loved it, and you know, I can tell you, I felt so good after, and uplifted, like full of hope and optimism, and like I felt more human. You
Hmm.
know, prior to that, I felt like I was just kind of processing data and taking information in, but now I have a level of experience that I hadn't known before. So,
Like you were missing a huge part of human connection. You really were. Like
mm,
it would be like going through life without ever having a friend. Like
yeah.
you're missing that level of human connection. And I think it was you that said it, you know, that the escort that you saw said something about like human intimacy or connection, something like that.
We had a conversation afterwards. She was really interesting. She was really smart and really cool. And
Yeah.
she
Escorts are
said to
allowed
me
to be
that,
intelligent.
yeah.
But you do have these connotations, right? And we'll talk about this a little later. Like there
Mm,
are sort of, you know, oh, an escort's going to be this or that and the other. But anyway, carry on.
yeah, man. So she said something really interesting to me afterwards. She says, "Look, you were introduced to the act through pornography. You
Hmm.
were brought into this act through, materials. But this is part of the human experience. This is just human connection.
Hmm.
This is what we do to each other, and it feels good. And it's good that you're driven, because I told her a little bit about myself. It's good that you're a
Hmm.
hard worker, but you will be a better person if you begin to have human contact." And it reminded me of a really beautiful quote that I love from Maya Angelou. And she said that people won't so much remember what you say so much as how you make them feel.
Hmm.
And that experience and the kind of feelings that I had, they were so powerful that I can say that it was one of the most interesting experiences of my life. And a life where you can have experiences like that consistently is it's a damn good existence, man. You know, it's a good way to call it a life, bud. You know, so I'm working towards that, and I'm not going to miss out on this component of human experience. It's too important, and
Yeah.
it's critical, man. So
So you
lesson
can see
learned.
you can see why I run this website. Why this isn't just like some shallow shit of like, hey, let's get some guys some pussy. Like it was never about that. It was never about the sex. I've made that clear. I've written articles like how getting laid makes you a better man. I lay out like 50 different dot points of how just having sex and getting to a point where you can have as much sex as you want absolutely carries off or carries over into other aspects of your life. Like now imagine you've done what you've just done here once, but you go out and make that shit happen on a regular basis. You go and talk to girls in person and they sleep with you. You know, obviously this woman was nice to you. She's into you. But imagine like you make that happen entirely of your own volition. You walk up to a girl, you start that whole process, you pull the trigger, you take her on a date, you do all that. She's attracted to you. You have sex with her. And imagine you do that multiple times. How healing that will be. How much of an experience that you're missing right now, how fulfilling it will be. How validating it will be.
You know, that is like a really beautiful thought, and it's really what my vision for my life is, and it's what I want to actualize. And I will say, bud, you know, when you say that, it's look, this is not some shallow stuff. It's not. This is about like living a really, you know, being a productive citizen, being all you can be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in shallow stuff, and you know, what we're doing in the community is very much oriented towards like high performance and
Mm-hmm.
achieving, and you know, it can be a mutually beneficial, enriching, you know, rewarding, satisfying experience for everyone involved, you know.
Yep, and it
So it's
should be.
not shallow. Yeah, it's not shallow in the slightest. Now, what I will also say is, to your point of being able to consistently do that, and that is an incredible thought just to kind of have and just to play with. I'm sure you take, because you're there already, and that's great. And a lot of people are also in the community, and that's a wonderful thing. But you know, part of it is also for me a big motivator is, you know, it's a bit of an underdog story, but because we
Mm-hmm.
all love underdog stories, right?
We do.
You know, it's a archetype, don't we? We love Rocky. We love. I know you post quotes from David Goggins, and he's a guy who's had that kind of um, experience of deep transformation. And for me, you know, what is so interesting is that, you know, I'm 30, well, about to turn 30,
Mm-hmm.
July, and the idea of getting to that point where I can make that happen organically. My God, what a comeback story. That's why my story is making a comeback, right? To me, that is
Yep.
so poetic. It's such it's something that I could say, you know, if I get that down in my life, you know, I achieve that and I also achieve my financial goals, I can call it a life. I can say I've
Mm-hmm.
really played the cards I was dealt, did what
Mm-hmm.
I had to do. So it's to take it back to what you just said at the start, that this isn't some shallow stuff. This is a journey of self-actualization, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not getting laid.
Why do you think I tried so hard with you? I mean, I try hard with everyone, but why do you think I tried so hard with you? It's because I love those underdog stories as well, because they
Yeah.
resonate with me. It's me. Why have I
Yeah.
tried so hard to build my girlfriend Imogen into the woman that she is today? It's been like a 3-year underdog story, because everybody loves an underdog story, as you say. And at the end of it, the victory is all the more sweeter for how far you've had to come. And like when you
Yeah.
first joined my coaching group, you didn't even think you could lose your virginity. Your mindset was like, we had to convince you of that shit first. That like, bro, you can lose your virginity. And that felt like a
Yeah.
process. That was like several months, right? Like we tried for several
Yeah,
months
it
to convince
was.
you.
Yes, you did. You did. Man, I thought it was an utter impossibility. I really
Yeah.
did. I honestly thought, because so much time has elapsed, and you know, I have had negative experiences in the past to such that I thought, well, I'm going to have to accept that this isn't going to happen for me. But equally, that I'm not a person who can accept things. I'm very motivated and hard-headed. And when I want to do something, what's really quite annoying in some senses is I simply cannot give up.
That's a
There's
good
things
thing.
I've
That'll be
done.
your greatest strength, by the way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when even so, I had to put my trust in yourself, in the rest of the group,
Mhm.
because I understood I need help and I haven't got this together and I don't know how to move forward. I really don't know, but I will
Mm.
trust these guys because they know what they're doing, and they're doing some really good work. So I'm just simply going to give up my preconceived notions. I'm just going to put my trust in the rest of the group and yourself, Andy, and just listen
Mhm.
to what these guys got to say. And you know what? I will do the work. I'll do exactly what you say to it. You don't have to
You
bullshit.
did. You did.
Yeah, yeah. You don't. You told me what to do. You gave me a deadline. That really helped because, yeah, oh yeah, because I've made since that day. I've made quantum leaps of progress, and um, we've also got another deadline now, which is really cool. But yeah, I took some convincing. I did, but I did sincerely work at it. You told me to do visualizations every day. I did that.
Yep. You
I
did that.
actually
Yep.
did that.
Yep.
I walked around and I just did those visualizations. And I also like actively sought just to put myself, because I've got some really cool female friends and stuff. I just put myself around them. Just wanted to normalize
Yep.
this. I just had to dream. And I read, I've got that book that you recommended. You can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. And I sincerely did a lot of work on that. And it was not easy. But
Mhm.
then I kept because I'm in a different time zone. I had to watch the replays of the coaching calls, but that was
Yep. The
really
weekly coaching
inspiring.
calls that we do. Yeah. Yeah.
The weekly coaching calls, that was
Yeah. I wish you could
very
be there for some of
inspiring.
them, but
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come next
yeah.
week. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Good. Yeah.
yeah. That was really inspiring, just because these guys are just going after it, and it's amazing. And I'm really, really happy for them. Really am.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's so motivating. But that was the point where it kind of started to seem like, oh my god, I can actually. I think I
Yeah.
can maybe do this. You know.
Yeah.
And then with a bit of prodding, I
And
overcame a massive hurdle for myself.
you did, let's be clear, you did like a hell of, you did all the work yourself. Like we just prodded you and pushed you in the right direction. I told you what to do, but to anyone listening, this, you didn't just, and anyone listening who's a virgin, no matter what age, you can lose it. Of course you can. You could lose it in a week. And that was the point that I said to you. And we'll talk about that in a second. But you also did a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You read the books I gave you. You joined the group coaching in the first place. That's obviously how you know someone's serious. You did all the
Yeah.
homework I gave you. You spent a lot of time, as you said, visualizing, fantasizing about what it would be like to lose your virginity, to be that person. I told you you need to like brainwash yourself into even slightly believing that it could maybe one day be possible. Like give yourself that 1% of hope. And the way you do that is by fantasizing about how amazing it'd be. Holy shit, imagine if I was allowed to have that, all that kind of stuff. I really want to get across, and we're going to get it across, hopefully in the rest of this podcast. No matter what your age, no matter where you're at, I don't give a shit if you're obese. I don't give a shit how you have to lose your virginity. You went and saw an escort. We'll talk about that in a second, because some people think that's contentious, or that's like, oh my God, that's cheating. To which I'm going to go very hard on that. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to go in your fucking asses if you think that that's cheating. I've seen so many guys now lose their virginity. I did a podcast with a guy a while ago called Ed, who was 31 when he saw me, virgin, erectile dysfunction. He'd had that for like his entire life. The first shit he wanted to work on with me is, can I even get an erection when I'm near a girl? Is that even possible? And I mean, that guy's gone on to get laid like 12 times or something at this point. Like, and with girls that he walks up to on the street or meets on Tinder. Like, no matter what your age, no matter where you're at, I promise you guys, this shit is possible. But it does require you doing the work. It won't just magically happen, especially if you're, in your 30s or like you, almost 30. That means you've built up a lifetime habit of thinking that you can't do this, that you are a virgin, making that your identity, wrapping your ego around, I'm the guy who's a loser who can't get laid. And that's not me saying that you're a loser, by the way, if you're a virgin. That's you saying that shit to yourself, which I'm sure you were doing. I would never call a guy a loser. But you have to like unpack that shit. And as you did, that takes work. You have to read books. You have to read, you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. You have to fantasize about your goal. You have to think, is there a world in which I could do this? You have to do, I have that depression article. I have that article called If You Feel Hopeless and Helpless. And in there, I list out like 20 questions for you to go through and answer. Questions like, why is Andy allowed to do it, but I'm not? Is Andy better than me? How come, Mac can do it? How come Ed can do it? Why not me? So you do need to put in the homework, of course. But like anyone can do it. Anyone is capable of that. You're not fucking special, are you? Like you're not a special
Not
human
at
being.
all. Not in the slightest, not in the slightest. And I can assure you, when you say you'd never call a guy a loser, I can assure you I did that a lot to myself. I thought this
Pretty
is
much every virgin
so,
does.
yeah, and it's quite silly, and furthermore, very unproductive. And I can
It's also
say,
arrogant as fuck.
it
It's
actually
so
is.
fucking arrogant. And every virgin that I say that to, or every depressed person that I say that to, they'll be like, why are you calling me arrogant? I'm not arrogant. I'm the opposite of arrogant. It's like, no, you think you're some special case who's better than the rest of us, who gets to avoid the hard work, who doesn't have to
Yeah.
face his fears like the rest of us, who doesn't have to nut up and do the scary
Yeah.
thing. You're a virgin. Oh, I'm a virgin. I get to sit off on the side and be my own special fucking wallflower while the rest of you. And I even see it sometimes with virgins or depressed people who will argue with me and say, Andy, you don't understand. You don't know my circumstances. It's easy for you.
Please.
The implication being there that you're more intelligent than me. That you know
that's
something.
it.
Yeah, it's arrogance, isn't it? It's like, Andy, if only you knew the
Andy,
shit
it
that
is
I go
pure.
through.
It's
Yeah.
pure arrogance.
It
It's
is.
self-deception. I heard a quote once I loved. It's that self-deception is the most powerful force in the universe, because people who are intelligent think that they're not able to make mistakes. They do their due diligence and things.
Yep.
But these people get scammed all the time. These people
Mhm.
make all sorts of what I will say is, I came to the forum and I humbled myself. I was very clear, and I was, I was open with everyone. I don't know what I'm doing. I just need help, and I'll listen to you. And you have a very well-established, proven track record. You've been there and done that with so many guys. So that I was not coming with any kind of ego here, but I'll listen to you and I'll do whatever work needs to be done. So that was something I've had in the past, Andy, and I've worked with that. So by the time I came, I didn't have so much of that shit going on.
Yeah. Was there like one epiphany or something that made you, was there something that either I said or someone else said, or just something you read in a book? Was there like one idea that made you think like, shit, maybe I can lose this?
It's something you said. Yeah. Okay. So you put listen, there's several things that you've said over time, but recently it was that was the epiphany. But what I will say is, look, I've been listening to your content and watching your videos, and when you talk, one thing that really helped me, like really was a very, like, I'd say this was so valuable that it's already paid for the coaching. I'm going to do the coaching for the next couple of years, and I think in 5 years it'd be really interesting to see where I end up. But what I would say is, what's so valuable that you've kind of drilled into my head is that you communicated it's okay to feel as if you're completely unworthy. You felt as if you couldn't achieve things, and whilst simultaneously achieving things, and you've progressively got more done, all the while having self-limiting beliefs and feeling nervous. And that really, you had a video, it was your birthday video, that was really useful for me, when you said, every kind of milestone you thought was an impossibility, and you felt that every step of the way, and you still succeeded. And the path to victory, it can be an edgy and uncomfortable one, and you can still fucking win. Yep. And when that kind of got into my head, I thought, oh my God, he felt like this too, and he still did it. And your results are impressive, bud, really. And that lit a big fire under my ass. And then what kind of really pushed me over the edge was when I was in the coaching group, and you said, your self-limiting beliefs are bullshit. And if you wanted to, if you were serious, you'd go mad on Tinder, you'd go cold approach, if you really needed to, you'd hire an escort, but you could get this sorted within a week. And then you said something a little bit bittersweet. You said, or don't, it's your life. You don't have to do any of this. But the last part, and you have to understand about my psychology, I can't give up, mate. I can't. I'm very stubborn, very stubborn. I think you're the same way. But like the idea that I would have to give up fucking disgusted me. It made me so, I can't, I'm not, if I want something, I'm going to have to get it done or die trying. That can happen too.
That's my emotional blackmail. I'm very good at emotional blackmail. Shit works, right? Shit works. I use it all the
but it
time,
works.
You're smart enough to know I'm doing it. A lot of people, shout outs to the people that don't know I do it, but I do it all the time. Whatever the fuck, I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever it takes to like make people do like the stuff they
I'm so glad you did that, buddy. I'm so glad you did.
I have to do that shit on myself too. I have to blackmail and emotionally manipulate myself all the time. I'm just a dumb human as well.
Yeah.
But I like what you said. I want to go back a little bit to what you said about that I've always had limiting beliefs. Absolutely. I read an article. It was one of the early articles I wrote on my website. This is like 2 years ago or so, called I Am Always Full of Doubt. And I basically said everything I've done. I've had so much doubt, insecurity, limiting beliefs. This isn't going to work. I can't make this. I mean, the first like 20 coaching calls I got on, I was like, they're going to call me a fraud. They're going to know that I can't help them. It's going to go terribly. I won't have any insights. The first group coaching I did, I was like, what if I go on there and because it's live, oh my God, what if I don't have time to think? And what if they ask me a question I can't answer? What if they know I'm a loser? Like, what if they question? Like, I've had doubts about everything. The first like 5 threesomes, nope, my dick won't work. I'm a loser. Like they're going to know that I'm just pretending to be a player. The entire time I was beating my approach anxiety. I was on the good looking loser forums. And my biggest fear, my biggest insecurity, I was convinced it was going to happen. I was convinced that that everyone on the forums was going to say, Andy, you don't belong here. You're not a player. We finally figured out that you're a fraud. You've just been pretending. You need to leave. I was so utterly convinced that was going to happen for like 2 years, dude. For like a year and it was until I had my second threesome. And then I was like, shit, I deserve to be here. I'm a cool guy. Like everyone looks up to me now. But yeah, the whole time I was like, I don't deserve to do this. This isn't me. It doesn't matter. You still take
That's insane.
Anyway.
Insane.
I'm going to be...
Because like, from my perspective, I can't, it's so kind of mind melting that you felt like that. Because from me looking at the perspective of someone who's kind of just starting his journey and seeing, someone who's like really doing some really incredible stuff, what that communicates to me is that our potential and the possibilities in our lives are like far greater than we can even imagine and conceive. If that's the kind of psychological barriers you had, then what that really makes me very excited about is shit. Then where am I going to be in 5 years? Because I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
You won't be able to plan. So this is the thing. First of all, I want to say you get to a point when you've achieved enough goals, which this is the first of your big goals. When you've achieved enough goals, you start to believe, you start to realize all of your limiting beliefs are absolutely bullshit. So you'll hear them like in the back of your head, I can't do this. This isn't possible. I'm a fraud. And you'll just giggle to yourself. You're like, ha, that's so fucking dumb. The last like 5 times my brain said that, it was so unbelievably wrong that's like a child is saying something to me. You'll almost say like, shut the fuck up, you child. And then you'll just do it anyway. So that's like, even though you won't be super confident, you'll have all the doubts, you'll just be able to quieten that voice. And then the second thing I'll say is you cannot predict where you'll be at. So every time I try, I'm so unbelievably fucking far off the mark. A good example, at the start of this year, on January 1st, Imogen and I, every year we write like a list of things we want to do for that year, like a mission. I did a podcast about it. I talked about all my goals and stuff, so you guys can go back and listen to that. But one of the goals was I want to have 2 months in a row where I earn $5,000 a month, 2 months in a row. And I was like, this is probably going to take, I don't know if we can do this by the end of the year. We sat down, I told her all of my insecurities. I was like, this is the one where I'm really not sure. I know normally I can tell that voice to shut the fuck up, and I'm still going to take action, but I'm not sure about this one. I don't know if it's possible. I genuinely don't know how to do it, or if I can do it, or if it's good enough, or my content, I don't know. April 2nd was the day when I'm like, holy shit, honey, that's 2 months in a row. Bearing in mind, that's April 2nd. That means in the first 6 days, I earned $5,000 of that month. And then March, I did it like in about 3 weeks. April 2nd. And so I remember we sat there and I was like, is this real? Is this a fluke or what? And I was like, this is so far. Like we did it within like the first 3 months, 3 and a bit months. And it was supposed to, I wasn't even sure if it would take a year. And I can give you like 50 other examples of goals that I've set that I just achieved. And I can tell, like the guy that I took out to do coaching with recently, playtime is over. Go back and listen to his video, anyone listening. He said, it's going to take me 7 months to start talking to girls. 10 hours later, he's talked to 27 or 20 girls, I should say. He's gotten like 4 numbers. He's had a date. He's now had like 3 dates or something since that. It's been 5 days since I took him out for coaching. And he was like, it's going to take me the rest of the year to even start. You said to me, December 31st, which is like 7 months away, is when I'm going to lose my virginity. And then I'm like, shut the fuck up. I was very hard on you. I said, shut the fuck up, basically. Do it right now. And then 4 days later, you're like, hey, I just lost my virginity. It's like, that was supposed to take the rest of the year, according to you, and you weren't even sure if it was possible. You just said, hopefully I can do it by the end of the year. You can't trust your limiting beliefs because they're fucking bullshit. They are always so bullshit. And I'm sure you will tell me, I didn't even try. Like, I'm sure you will tell me, I could have probably done it the same day you texted
Oh
me that
yeah,
shit. And I could
yeah,
have earned $5,000 in the first month of like January. I could have. Like half the time you don't even bust your ass and you still
yeah,
crush your goals. You cannot trust your limiting beliefs, guys. Like you can't.
yeah,
They're just always wrong. They're always wrong because they're based on fear. They're based on a lack of understanding of how long it really takes because you're a newbie. You haven't done that thing before. You have no idea how long it's going to take. And you're going to drastically, 99% of the time, you're going to drastically overestimate how long it takes because you're scared. Because if you set a quick deadline like I made you do, then you have to do it right now. That's terrifying. So you set a long deadline so that you can just waste 6 months before you even start. You would have not even started trying to get laid till like October,
yeah.
maybe
Oh my
September.
God.
You
You know,
wouldn't,
I'm
would you?
really, and you know what, but but so much has come out of that. Like within, a couple of days after I booked my trip to the wonderful Canary Islands, I've got a plan
Yep.
together to go do cold approach there. Oh God, I'm so grateful because I would have wasted so many months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what could happen in the next 3 months. It could be great.
Let's talk about how you did lose your virginity. So
Okay.
this will be contentious to some people, and we're going to go balls deep on that. By the way, I think we can preface it by saying if you don't want to see an escort, we are going to talk about like some people say they don't want to, but it's something else at play, like
Okay.
nervousness, ego, anything like that. But if you don't want to see an
Hmm.
escort, fucking don't. Neither of us. I'm sure you don't give a fuck if a guy sees an escort. I don't give a fuck. It's your
Don't
goddamn
care.
life. Yeah.
Don't care.
So you just because I said to you, I gave you a list of things. I said I've got
You
it written
did.
right here. I said you could get laid this week if you wanted to. If you were serious, you would go outside and talk to 50 girls this week, or you'd hit me up for my hardcore one-on-one coaching package where I basically make you do shit, or you'd go mental on Tinder, or you would pay an escort, or you would bang a fat girl. I kind of threw the escort thing in there offhandedly because I've had other people do the same thing. I throw it in there and they go, okay, I did it. I saw an escort. Thank you. You came back and actually said, yeah, I saw an escort. So what was the experience like? Did you have like an ego before you did it where you were like, I mean, this is multiple questions. Let's start with the first question. Did you have an ego of like, I can't pay for sex, I'm too good for this? Like any of those sort of questions or those sort of ideas?
So I didn't because I will be quite open and honest. I simply needed intimacy. I'm a human being like everyone
Mm-hmm.
else, and I know there's a lot of work that I need to do on myself, but I know, and I've got high standards for what I want to achieve, and it's some way away, but I'm going to do it. I'm willing to do the work. I've not got problems with my work ethic, but it's just, I know there's a long way to go. I've still got like, since I joined your forum, I've lost, a good amount of weight, like 15 pounds so far, but I've still got 37 pounds to lose. So I know there's a lot of work that I need to do. That's fine. I'll do the work. But this is, for me, I didn't have ego. It was just part of my process to become a better person.
I love that you didn't have ego because that's the number one thing that I deal with. Like there are some guys that will just do it, and it's like they in their mind they're just like, well, an escort's a person. Like I'll just go see her and she can help me
Exactly.
with this shit. There's other guys that sort of wrap a lot of I guess it's like ego, and we will talk about that in a second. But I do want to ask you what the experience was like because you came on back into the coaching group and you just ranted and raved. You were like, "She's so lovely."
Yeah.
You sounded like you're
Dude.
in love, man. So like, talk
Yeah,
us
yeah,
through
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit because I was
Okay.
really happy that you had a good experience.
Hey man, listen. It was a good experience, but yeah, I'm still really happy thinking about it. But yeah, so I found someone who was like a high class
Mm-hmm.
escort, and she was a very very beautiful woman. I called her and explained to her, look, this is what I said. I'm a person who's extremely inexperienced. To be honest with you, I'm a virgin. I'm 29. I'm about to turn 30, and I said I've joined a kind of men's group, a men's coaching group,
Mm-hmm.
and as part of my personal journey, I want to get comfortable with intimacy, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
become a person who can be intimate. And I specifically said I've got a lot of self-limiting beliefs that I want to now work on dismantling. So I said, after some consultation with my coaching group, I want to see a professional. So I've found yourself. Would you be able to? Would I be able to see you? And
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, you can come over. So I went to see her at sort of in the evening, first of all, she was very, very pretty, very beautiful, and she was so nice and made me so comfortable. I'm really grateful because um, she helped me through everything. She was so attentive and she like, told me what to do, and really guided me through it. And it was just so like enriching, and I felt far more integrated as a person throughout the process. But honestly, but during I was like beaming from ear to ear. I was just like had a massive fucking smile on my face. I really, really enjoyed it. It was, um, you know, for a guy who's never been there, who's like a virgin, the feminine is a really powerful thing. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much that you can get from it. It's so healing and nourishing. It's not. I'm kind of looking at it from a different perspective. I'm not looking at it in terms of like getting laid. I'm looking at it in terms of like, becoming a better person, a more actualized, well-rounded person, and
Mm-hmm.
like I felt so soothed and so healed. And there's there's a way that a woman can kind of touch you and hold you in a way
Mm-hmm.
that just really is so reassuring. So yeah, afterwards I was very excited and very happy. It was a mixture of both pride and a really wonderful, enjoyable experience. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a mixture of overcoming a really bad limiting belief and taking action, and also just a plain like very kind of wholesome experience also.
One of the main objection people say, and again, if you don't want to see an escort, don't. But the main like defense that people will say is, you know, ego, ego, ego. I want to feel like I can do it myself, or that kind of stuff. It's cheating. The way I phrase it to other people, first of all, if you've wrapped your entire identity up with being a virgin and that's a roadblock for you, why would you not pay an expert to solve that for you?
Yeah.
Like, you can solve the problem with a couple of hundred, or maybe it was more for you. You can
Yeah.
pay, because you saw a high class one. You can
Yeah, it
pay
was
for,
more
let's
than
say,
that, far more.
$1,000 for a really, 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 really high class escort. $2,000 if you want to sleep with and be taught by and mentored by like the hottest woman you will ever meet in your entire life. You can't tell me that's not worth $2,000. If you're a virgin, if you want to be if you want to save money, $500. There you go. Like it's not a crazy amount of money for something that has been holding you back for your entire life up until this point. The second thing is, again, with the expert, you're seeing someone who is an expert. How is that not a good first time experience? I think guys wrap, like, I get the appeal of like, oh, I want it to be special, I want it to be this, I want it to be that, but we're talking here a specific case where your virginity is holding you back, making you feel like a loser, ruining the rest of your life, or holding you back from starting the rest of your life. Go and see a fucking expert. It's almost like you're going to a counselor. You're going to a sex therapist. I like to talk about it like that. I did an interview with an escort called an escort named Georgie Wolf. She's fucking awesome. She's also a sex educator. And that's what she does. She literally, like guys like you, she will take inexperienced guys and teach them, walk them through it, like educate them. Here's how you pleasure a woman. Here's how you pleasure yourself. Here's what sex is like. Here's some different positions. Here's what to do if your dick doesn't get hard. Here's all of that stuff. Again, it's like, frame it, guys, frame it in your mind. If you have these objections, frame it in your mind as like, I'm going to see an expert, or I need to deal with this thing that's been holding me back. I'm just going to throw some money at the problem. I'll have a good experience. It's almost guaranteed you'll have a good experience if you're paying a lot of money, like rather than seeing some girl from Tinder that you can't. And again, if you want to meet someone from Tinder or in person, like fucking do that. But I just want to make it clear, and maybe I should make it more clear. I'm not endorsing seeing an escort, but it is an option. And so whichever one you choose, I don't really care. And in the end, you won't really care. But that door is open. Don't close that door just from ego.
Yeah, and what I will say is, for me, it was almost like going to see a surgeon for a wound, and I left after feeling healed, and I feel like a different person. I don't feel like I actually before it was an impossibility to, even expect any woman to want to be with me. But now I actually genuinely feel like I could definitely go on a date, definitely meet different women, and some of them will be into me, and it'll be great. So that was worth it. That's like decades of counseling and whatever else, just from an evening.
Sometimes a guy will slap that label on himself or wrap his ego up in like, I'm a virgin. This is, I'm just a loser. I'm just a virgin. And sometimes you just have to rip that label off. Like the solution You know, it could be, oh my God, you might need 6 years of counseling. You might need all of this stuff. Other times it's just, or most of the time it's just, you just need to get laid. You just need to not be a virgin anymore, and that will fix the problem. And then, yes, there will still be a lot of stuff to work through. You'll have to ask yourself, and you're going to have to ask yourself questions like, why did I let myself be a virgin for this long? Did I really not like myself? Did I not think that I deserved this shit? Like, why was I punishing myself? Why was I so fixated on this label of myself as a virgin? Why couldn't I give that up? Is there anything different now? Like, all these kind of questions. But ripping that Band-Aid off or that label off, a lot of the time just solves like 95. At least you can start working on that other stuff. So guys, again, if you want to see an escort, do that. If you don't. But please leave that door open to yourself. Please don't have this idea that you're too good for sex. If you're a virgin in your late 20s or 30s, like at least just consider that as an option. Like that's an option that will always be there to you. It will immediately solve the problem. You will still have other problems, sure, fine. But it at least solves that one first problem. I'm a virgin. Something's wrong with me. Okay, now you don't get to hide behind that label anymore. Now you have to deal with the actual shit that's going on in your life, the actual insecurities, the actual reasons. You have to self-improve. I do want to ask you, do you, because this is another thing that guys say, they say, I'm worried that if I pay for sex, that'll open the door for me to pay for it more later on, and then I won't be motivated to improve.
No.
Has this made you more motivated?
Listen, man, it's not. It's made me completely motivated. I have a absolute determination to move forward and actualize my potential, and I needed a bit of a boost to get me started, and that's fine. But I don't feel as if that's necessary now. I don't need to do that again. So what I will say is I've been actually more consistent with the various actions that I need to take. I've actually been more motivated, and just little things like, I have a different range of different hobbies. Andy, I learn languages, I play guitar, I draw, and various things that I do that I'm now actually even more motivated to do, because now that can tangibly lead to more interesting experiences down the road, because it contributes to me being a more interesting person. And now I have a path where I can actually channel that down. So my diet's been better, my exercise has been better. Everything else is been solid. So it's actually made me more motivated in my self-improvement, as opposed to something which I may be looking to lean on as a crutch. I don't see it that way. It was maybe like training wheels on a bike, and now I know how to kind of ride one. I don't need to put them on again. It's okay. I can go on.
That makes sense. And it's funny that you talk about, it's not funny, but it's interesting that you talk about, wanting to go on and work on your other self-improvement, or being more motivated to do so, because you had this blockage there saying, I'm a virgin. Yeah. And so in your mind, you're like, I could lose weight, but I kind of need to lose. I'm a virgin. Yeah. What's the point anyway? Once you take out that first like blockage, it's like, well, shit, now I can do all the other stuff. I don't have this like, almost like artery clogging fucking blockage sitting there going, oh my God, I'm a virgin. What's the point? I'm a loser. I can't do this shit. No woman has ever touched me. How do I believe they ever will? You take that away and you're like, shit, I could do anything now. And I will do anything now. And I'm telling you will.
But that is it. You've just hit the nail on the head. That is exactly it. Yeah.
Let's get fucking detailed. Before we do, and I'll put this in the intro, guys. And before we put this to bed, this idea of like, I'm too good for paying for sex, blah 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 blah. I've paid for sex. I've seen escorts like, I don't know how many times. When I was younger, probably, let's say 5 times in total. It might be more, but I think it was roughly 5 times. When I was at my lowest point, and I was between girlfriends, I had come out of an abusive relationship, and I was like, I don't know how to get laid. I don't know how to meet anyone. I feel like a fucking loser. I went through the newspaper. I thought about it for like maybe 2 months, and I saw all the ads. I would like look at the ads, and I'd be like, oh, she sounds nice, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't do it. I was like, no, this is like, I'm stooping too low. Like, this is wrong. This is blah, blah, blah. I'm sure like a bunch of guys have that shit. And then one day I was like, I can't fucking handle being this fucking lonely. So I looked up The sweetest one, she was this Asian woman. She was like in her 30s, maybe in her 40s. She was really attractive, actually. And she was really fucking sweet. And I went to see her and I was like really timid and shy. I think I was like 22 or something at the time, you know, just out of an abusive relationship, fucking miserable, depressed. And I wasn't that depressed at that point, but really lonely. And she was so goddamn nice to me. I saw her like 4 or 5 times. She was so goddamn nice to me.
Yeah.
And like, she was giving me a back rub. She was like saying like, you know, oh, you beautiful young boy, you nice young boy, like all that. She had this like really thick Asian accent. She was an absolute sweetheart. And like, at one point she was like, why are you single? Like, why you come see me? Why you no see nice girl? And I was like, you know, I don't know how. And she like, she fucking gave me some mentorship. She's like, okay, you need to go do this. You go to a bar, you talk to a nice young lady. You're a very handsome young man. And I needed to hear that because I didn't know that. I thought I was fucking ugly. I thought I was disgusting. I thought I wasn't allowed intimacy because the only intimacy I'd had was in an abusive relationship. And she fucking like opened the door for me to go like, okay, well, if one woman is nice to me, and yes, I am paying her, but I could tell that she meant that shit. And that she didn't have to say that, because she didn't say that until I'd seen her a couple of times. She didn't have to be nice to me. I'd already fucking paid her. And it was when we were like cuddling after sex. She didn't have to hang out with me after sex. She hung out with me for like an hour and a half a couple of the times when I'd only paid her for half an hour. And so that was like shit. Like, if one woman is being nice to me, maybe other ones will be. And that really opened the door. So I really want to get across, again, if you don't want to see an escort, fucking don't. I don't care. But please don't wrap it up in like, oh my God, I'm too good to pay for sex. If you're a virgin and you're unhappy about it, and especially if you're in your late 20s or 30s, are you really too good for paying for sex? Has the opposite worked out for you so far? Like, are you too good for sex if you're a virgin and you're in your late 20s or 30s? You obviously don't think so. Not you personally, but I mean, I guess you as well. If you're still a virgin in your late 20s or 30s, you don't think you're too good for sex, to pay for sex. You think you're a loser. Otherwise, you would have had sex. You would have done something to have sex. So please don't let your ego get in the way. Decide whether or not you're going to hold on to your virginity, whether that's more important to you, or holding on to this notion of like, oh my God, you know, I'm too good to pay for sex. It's like, pick one. Or go outside and talk to girls, or go on Tinder, but do something, shit, or get off the pot. Don't sit there going, I'm too good to pay for sex, and I'm just going to stay a virgin for the next, like, 5 fucking years. Like,
man, I think a big portion of it as well as the ego, people have a really poor concept for intimacy, and I certainly did. It's kind of a human instinct. It's something that you do when you're a human, and it's something that we kind of need. And going long periods of time without it is not good for your health, not good for your mental and emotional health. And I'm certainly not going to go through that again. I've learned my lesson. It was a mistake. I should have got it handled a long time ago, but that's fine. But if would you forego taking a medication? Have you got too much ego around? You know, do you know what I mean?
It's the same thing. Same with like seeing a counselor. Oh, I'm too good to ask for help. I'm too good to talk through my problems. Sometimes you do need a bit of intimacy, you're right. And it can be a good stopgap if you've gone a long period of time, or you're at a point like where you're at, where you need to lose a bit of weight, which, by the way, you can go outside. You could absolutely get laid right now. Please don't think that I'm going to drill you on that in the group, in the coaching group over the next few months. You don't have to wait till you've lost all your weight. Like, you can start getting laid now. But I get the notion that when you're between girlfriends or between partners or something, you just want a bit of intimacy. Like, go and see a fucking escort, guys. I don't know why there's this whole stigma around it. I have friends. I have one mate who's seen an escort like fucking 50 times. Like, and he still goes outside and talks to women, but he will go periods of time where he's busy with work, or, you know, talking to women doesn't go the way that he wants it to. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go see a nice escort. She's going to be nice to me. I'm going to get laid. And I'm going to feel good. And then I can like go through the rest of my week and crush my week and work on my goals. It's invigorating. It's like a recharge. It's not a negative thing, you know what I mean? Unless you frame it as such. Oh my God, I'm a loser who has to pay an escort. How about you flip that and say, well, I have a solution. I have a problem and I'm going to pragmatically find a solution to it. Here's a good solution. Cool, done. That's intelligent. That's pragmatism. And again, if you don't want to see an escort, don't. But the option is right there.
Yeah. Agreed.
I want to ask you, let's just pick one. What was your favorite moment? Like, it can be sexual, it can be intimate, it can just be like hanging out and talking, anything, like when you were with her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what. So Yeah, I was when we were intimate, I kind of like performed oral on her for a while, which
Okay.
was fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah. And then after like she was pretty excited. She kind of like pulled me in and started making out. And she was like breathing quite heavy, and I can tell she was really into it. And I thought, oh shit, this is awesome. This is great. You know. So yeah, that felt really good. That was like my favorite moment.
My boys figured out that the hottest part of sex is when she's turned on. Like that's the hottest part. When like you're
Yeah.
turning her on and you realize like shit, that's me doing that. Like I'm turning her
Yeah.
on. That's the hot part. And then she gets really turned on by
Mm.
the fact that you're turned on, which makes you turned on it, and then you bounce off each other. It's like you're just reflecting that energy. That's when
Yeah.
you start going fucking crazy. That's when you just have like really hardcore sex, or you're just moaning like crazy, or you orgasm.
Yeah.
And then I want you to kind of, because one of the techniques I gave you to start even believing that you could lose your virginity was I said, fantasize about what it's going to be like to do so. What I want you to do over the next couple of months, and I'll remind you of this, in the coaching group. What I want you to do is fantasize about different stuff. I want you to go and read my sexual bucket list article and start
Okay.
coming up with like stuff that you want to try, stuff that you think would be cool. Read some sex
Okay.
stories, look at some porn if you want. Whatever you got to do, like start fantasizing about some different shit you want to try, and then it's your mission to go out and try that with different girls. Like each time you see a girl, you pick 5 things from your list, and every time you see her, you say, you can even tell her if you want to. Here's the 5 things I want to try. Do these sound cool to you? And your mission is to tick off. You'll be a horny bastard with a long bucket list. I have a long bucket list too, still, with like 100 or 300 things you want to tick off, and you try each one of them. And one of the hottest things that I know you're going to like is what's called a mutual orgasm, or like a simultaneous orgasm, where you both come at the same time. I'm telling you, you're going to say that's like a fucking roller coaster. Like that'll blow your
Yeah.
goddamn mind. Because especially if you're like looking into each other's eyes and you realize like
Jesus.
she's coming because of you. And she'll realize like, shit, he's coming because of me. That's like some mind-blowing shit, dude. And you want to talk about intimacy and
Yeah.
shit? Like staring into another human being's eyes as you both
Yeah.
orgasm, like that's some deep shit, man. That's like a trip and a half, bro. And that's just one thing
Yeah.
on your bucket list. There's like, think how many hundreds of like, this entire world is opened up to you now. And any virgins
Mm-hmm.
listening, this is all the shit you're missing out on. Like, go see
Mm-hmm.
an escort or go outside and talk to girls or go on Tinder. Like, lose that shit, because this shit, having sex is fun, man. It's a lot of fucking
I'm
fun.
so excited, man. Yeah, I'm so excited just to like should actually have the pathways open to me now and actually have a concept for these things. So no, I'm totally stoked. You'll see my bucket list posted in the coaching group in the next couple of weeks, bud.
Fuck
Maybe not 300 items just yet. Maybe
Dude, no, once
we'll
you
get there.
start, like you'll try one thing, you'll go, what's it like, I don't know, tying a girl, it like blindfolding a girl. You'll try that one,
Mhm.
that'll be one thing on your bucket list. And then when you try that, you'll be like, oh my God, it branches out. There's like an entire world of things that I can do with just a blindfold. There's like
Wow.
500 more things that I can do with a blindfold. And then you'll try, I don't know, spanking. And then you'll be like, shit, there's like 500 different ways to spank a girl. You can do it rough, you can do it hard, gentle, you can do it in the same spot, you can alternate spots, you can do it with a paddle, you can do it with a whip, you can do it while you're getting her off, you can spank her as hard as you can right at the moment she orgasms, you can spank her to stop her from orgasming because it'll pull her out of the orgasm. You can try her spanking. You know what I mean? There's like 500 different things with just one thing on your bucket list. Sex really is this entire universe. And
Wow.
it blows my mind that a lot of people just have like missionary sex or vanilla sex, because it's like, are you serious? There's like a whole world here. It's like going to Disneyland and riding one ride only ever for the rest of your life. It's like you're missing out.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
I do want to ask you, bring it back. What is one thing about sex that you had a different idea in mind about, like anything to do with sex, and the reality was like radically different?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So it is like a process. It is, you know, it's something that you kind of embed yourself into, immerse yourself into, and it's a sensual experience. And it requires physicality. It requires like a level of vulnerability. There's so many layers that I simply had no concept for whatsoever. So as I was kind of exploring that, my preconceptions and kind of, well, very mistaken notions were just evaporating, and kind of over time I was realizing, oh my God, this is just very human. It's just a very human thing to do. And it was,
Yeah.
well, man, afterwards, like I will say, like even looking at people and being around people now, it's different. It's very different. Like just talking to a woman or just seeing one, it's a different experience. Hard to articulate, but yeah.
It's like a new sense has been opened up in you. You're now aware of sexuality. You're aware of flirting. You're aware of body language. You're aware of like intimacy, smell, touch, all that kind of stuff. It's all wrapped up in human sexuality, but that's a new sense that you weren't open to before. You didn't even know how to read it. It's been out there. You just were tuned off. You couldn't tune into that frequency. You were blind to it.
That's correct.
Yeah. And that happens if you're a virgin for a long time. You kind of shut that part of you off. And then the problem with that is it's easy to keep it shut off. And so you come to like a group coaching program like me or like mine, and you say, I want to get laid, but like, I don't know how. And I'm like, bro, just get laid. And you're like, I don't even know what that world is. Like, I don't know how to open that world. I don't know how to open that door. I don't even know what that looks like. And so I have to give you some ideas, like go see an escort, go outside and talk to girls, go on Tinder, have sex with no offense to fat girls, but like have sex with a fat girl. You know what I mean? Have sex with
I'm cool with that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
I had sex with a lot of fat women in my time, and like I will say a lot of them were absolute fucking sweethearts in the early days.
Ah, man, that's great. That's great. Yeah, it's kind of like almost as if you hear people who do jujitsu and take part in various martial arts, and right at the start they are like, as I recently said to you, they are on shaky legs like a baby lamb, and you have to kind of build up those neural pathways and build up those motions, and your body has to adapt, and it's a process. But then you've got that neurology there, it begins to establish itself, and then you can actually feed that neurology as you are sensing things and engaging with people. It's there's parts of your brain that are built and kind of carved out now that weren't there before, because I can tell, since then, talking to women is different. It's different because part of my brain has began to manifest that wasn't there before. There are new neural pathways that are being built. So what's really interesting about that is I want to see how that kind of plays out in the months and years to come. Got to start somewhere, so watch this space. I'm sure it's going to be a really cool journey.
Speaking of journey, your next goal is to go on 8 dates by July 31st, which is roughly 2 months from now. So 8 dates. And where we counted, we said, I don't know if you were there for that discussion.
I listened to it. I listened to it.
You weren't there, yeah. We said,
I watched
if
it.
it's multiple dates with the same woman, that counts.
That's good.
8 dates.
That's reassuring.
Are you fucking excited for that?
Absolutely, man. So stoked. It's sincerely like something I'm really looking forward to. And I'm surprised almost. I'm almost surprised myself how excited I am. So it's cool.
When
really
you came to the group, you were kind of like really numb to the idea of sex. You almost talked about it in the third person. Like, maybe I'll do that thing, but you weren't passionate like you are now. You weren't talking in the first person of like, I'm going to do that. You were kind of like, that would be a nice thing for me to have.
Yeah. That's it, buddy. I was just on it, for people who were in the position that I was. You are orbiting in a different world. You are on a different frequency. You are not existing on the same plane as people who've built that kind of capacity in them, who've had that connection, and who've had those experiences and experienced that emotionality. If you've never had those memories, you are operating on a different plane of existence. So when I was talking to yourself and others in the group, I really had no concept for intimacy or what a adequate dating life would look like at all. So it was very detached and distant, but that is, I'm shocked. I'm very shocked by how quick that changed. It's cool.
Yeah, that's called getting laid. You get a taste for it and you're like, shit, this is fun. That's why it's like the guy that I took out recently, Playtime is Over. As soon as he did his first 1 or 2 approaches, he was like, oh shit, this is what it feels like. Women being nice to you when you talk to him in public and telling you thank you for calling me cute. Holy shit. And then he's like addicted and he's doing it a ton. A lot of the time, I'll say it again. The answer to a lot of your problems is just to take that first step. You get a little taste of success, or even sometimes you get a taste of failure and you're like, no, I know I can do it better than that. You try again and then you get some success. But you're never going to get that sitting from a standpoint of like theory, from sitting off on the sidelines going like, theoretically, I could lose my virginity. Maybe I'll talk to girls in like 5 months or something. You have to like dip your toes into the water and actually fucking do it.
I'm really, really keen to make maximum use of the momentum I've got. So I want to start, as soon as possible. My friend is helping me with my pictures. Thankfully, I've got an awesome best mate who will do my photos for me. So we're going to do that on we're going to do that on Sunday and Saturday. I'm reading the Tinder guide. I'm studying that. So I'm going to do a lot more notes. I'm going to go through that. It's really long. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
by the
bro,
way.
it's 130,000 words. That shit took me like 4 months to write.
Oh my God. I'm so grateful that you did it. It's really, really, it's like some of the
that
best
was my
stuff
magnum opus.
And what a magnum opus it is. It's freaking incredible, man. So that's very enlightening. So I'm going to make maximum use of the momentum I've got. And, I'm going to get those pictures up. I'm going to post them in the group and on the forum. And then like Tuesday of next week, I'm going to just start the process and fumble my way through and have doubts. And I don't care. I'm just going to do what needs to be done.
Well, that's what we're there for anyway. You just ask us and get some feedback. And I mean, you're in the fucking group of other guys doing this shit. So that's what we're there for. What about, I mean, we don't have to go into great detail. Let's leave this for not on the podcast, but I am going to get you to start talking to girls in person too. I'm going to push you a little bit with that stuff. You're also going to the Canary Islands and you're going to hit on some Spanish women over there. No habla or español, doesn't matter. I'm still going to stick my, they'll understand like fucking chorizo sausage in a paella. I can't think of any other fucking Spanish.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Is chorizo even Spanish? I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
I know they
is,
eat it, but I don't know if it's their dish, is it?
Yeah, it's kind. Yeah. I believe paella certainly is, man, and it's one hell of a dish. But chorizo as well is a very Spanish kind of. It's part of their cuisine for sure. Yeah, and I do speak a little bit.
Well, there you go. But you don't need to have sex with foreign girls. You just have to kind of like touch them a little bit. But there'll also be other things in there that you'll be doing, continuing to lose weight, dressing better, like all that kind of stuff. But that's just a process of, trial and error and you figuring it out as you go along. Like, I'm super fucking excited for you, man. But I do want to ask you,
man,
what do you want? Like, now that you've had a taste of like losing your virginity, because you couldn't answer this question before. It was just, I don't know, I want to lose my virginity. Do you have like a short term or a medium term or a long term goal? Is there something you want?
Yeah, man, I can tell you my long-term goal absolutely is to get married and have children and stuff like that. I want to start a family. So I want to, I want to find someone who's really cool, really awesome, who I can be with for life. And I want to start a family, have, 3 or 4 children. And I want to put the next 5 years in just doing everything I can to get myself in a good financial, I'm in a good position, right? It's okay. It's good. It's better than average, but at any rate, I've got really lofty goals. And, I've got some friends who've done very, very well financially, and I want to get there. Definitely, my goal is like definitely a 6-figure income. And then, once I'm there, I'll keep scaling. But at any rate, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And what I'd love is, the next 5 years when I'm 35, I'd love to like get married and just have a good family life and provide a comfortable existence for a wife and children. That's my long-term goal.
Good shit, man. And it's, I'm glad to hear you talk like that. I'm glad to hear you have like a goal that you're passionate about, to give yourself that permission, because you obviously didn't have permission if you're still a virgin. Like you can't be a good father if you don't even know how to get laid. You can't pick a good wife if you don't even know how to. Yeah, if you haven't experienced a bit of intimacy.
It's letting your potential wife down. It's letting your children down. If you didn't step up and go through those hurdles and gain that experience, then I think I want to take responsibility for that and overcome that challenge and not have any challenges and be able to overcome absolutely anything. So when it's my time to lead and have influence on people who depend on me, there's going to be no excuses. There's nothing I won't be able to overcome. There's no barrier I won't be able to go past. I want to handle absolutely fucking everything. Yeah, so that's the long-term goal.
So you thought it was going to take you 7 months to lose your virginity. You've done it in like 5 days. I really want to drill that into you.
Yeah.
I want you to never forget that. I want you to go around for the rest of your life as like, I'm the guy that was supposed to take 7 months and I did it in 5 days. And the reason that I want you to wrap your identity around that is now every goal that you have for the rest of your life, I want you to, whatever timeline comes into your head, I want you to do the same sort of like division or reduction, I should say, as you've done here. So if you give me a goal that's like, this goal is going to take a year, you have to do it in 2 months or a month. Like, I want you to just always have that framing or that mindset for the rest of your life. Whatever thing you think is impossible, no, I can probably do it in like 3 months, maybe 6 months if I take my time with it. Like, there are no more impossibles for you. Like, this was supposed to be impossible. You told me it was impossible when you first joined the group, and you've done it like without that much fanfare. It wasn't that hard. You just had to do it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's holding you back except whatever made up delusional limiting belief in your head. And those voices will always be there. I'll make that clear. They still are for me. But now you have some experience with pushing through them. Now, the next time you have whatever limiting belief it is, you're like, yeah, but the last one was bullshit. So maybe this one is too. And you'll bust through that one. Once you rack up a couple of these, you'll be like, well, the last like 5 limiting beliefs were bullshit. This one definitely has to be too. Like, and the further you go with that, the easier this shit gets to push through.
It feels so good to kind of know that, but it really does.
Yeah. Like, most of our limiting beliefs are just made up delusions in our own head. Like, you're your own worst enemy. I am too. We all are. Like, there's no rule. Nobody ever sat down and made a rule that said, you can't get laid. That's not written anywhere in the universe. Or you can only make this much money. Everyone working a job they don't like right now, by the way, nobody told you that was the amount of money that you're allowed to make. You just decided that it was. That's your worth. Or if you're in an unhappy relationship, nobody said you had to stay. Nobody said you deserve a shit relationship. Nobody made you do that except you. And at some point, and that was a subconscious thing. So technically, you didn't even say that to yourself. You've just accepted it. So all this stuff is absolute bullshit. It's so easy. I shouldn't say it's so easy to bust through it, but I'm sure from your point of view, this wasn't the hardest thing in the world. As soon as you decide you're going to do it, you're like, oh, fuck, I have to do it. And you just do it immediately.
Absolutely.
Like really quickly.
Yeah, it really, as soon as I was like clear, okay, this is what I have to do, and it was communicated, no, stop the bullshit, this is what you have to do. Once it kind of, once I basically came into contact with the post that you put, it was tangible, and it was just a case of execution. And it doesn't really matter how you feel. It doesn't, if you go to get surgery done and your surgeon doesn't feel like operating on you that day, that's going to be a very yeah, it doesn't really matter how you feel, man. It's I'm okay with that, so that what I will say is that is a massive life lesson. That is something that I'm really grateful to have learned. I did post about that, but that was the massive take home. And this is something that's going to be with me for life now. That is probably going to add a lot of really great experiences. It's going to enable me to create what I want to create. So what I will say is this has been so rewarding. I'm only 2 months into a couple months into our coaching, and it's been really life-changing already, really life-changing. So I'll stay the course, and we'll see where we end up in a couple of years.
I'm fucking excited, man. Where do you think you'd be if you hadn't signed up for the coaching program?
Man, it's a sad. It's a sad thought, It's pretty dark, right? It's like.
But you need to think that, because that will be motivating for you in the future.
Okay. Okay, man.
What does taking action look like versus if I haven't?
Okay, yeah, shit. You know what, bud? Before I even started on the forums, I was just fucking hopeless. I thought, this is just never going to happen. I'm going to have to accept that. I'm going to have to find a way to cope. I'm going to have to somehow I might have to become a monk in a monastery or something, because I've just fucked this up. Yeah.
Like, rationalize it as an okay thing to give up on.
Yeah, because it's a very human thing, and I know that, and I thought the only way I'm going to have to become like some sort of religious person and go find a monastic. I'm going to have to do something else. I'm going to go to Himalayas and become a yogi, and I was watching documentaries about that shit. But you know, it was dark, man. It was fucked. It was horrible. And the most painful thing was that other people who were just the same as me, just regular people, were making it work. And I thought, oh my God, I can't even do a basic human function. So, and that's where I was before joining the forum, and joined it. And you know, people were really reassuring, and at the start they were really kind of just took me from where I was and to just one step at a time, start losing weight. And I did lose weight. I've lost like 15 pounds so far, and I'm very motivated now.
Good shit.
So yeah, so yeah, the thought of where I would be if it wasn't for joining the coaching group is dark. It's very fucking dark. I don't really want to think about that.
What advice would you give to someone who is thinking of joining us in the group coaching, but they're on the fence about it? They're like, I don't know, you know.
Oh my God. Listen, man, please do it. Look, you don't have to torment yourself. You don't have, you're not, Jesus Christ, man. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to. You don't have to accept a fate that you don't want. If you're not happy with where you are, there's absolutely so many things you can do to change it.
Yeah.
Everyone on this group, everyone in this community is doing incredible things. And it's a privilege to just have connections with people who are really exceptional, very competent, very well put together individuals who, you know, have brought a lot to my life, just interacting on our group. And also I'm going to start doing the actual live calls more often.
Good.
So if someone's on the fence, what I'll say is, look, the fact that we've all had these been utterly mired in doubt, the fact that we've all felt as if these things are impossible, and we've had to walk the path to get towards our goals. Embrace that. It's okay to be absolutely hopeless and to suck, but you can still take action, and you can still make it happen. So I would encourage anyone to take the leap and just do the work. Do the fucking work. You're going to be dead soon enough. There's only so much time. There's not that, we don't get that much time as humans. Life is so precious. You know, once it's gone forever and ever, and you have to enjoy it. You deserve it. So I would tell people, just fucking do the work, you know.
I'll second that. Any last words you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to shout out? Anyone you want to say hello to? Anything like that?
Yeah, okay. So all I'm going to say is very grateful for yourself, Andy. Thank you for letting me come on today. Much appreciated. Very grateful for Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Very grateful for the rest of the members of the coaching group. Very, very happy to be amongst a group of people who are as motivated and serious as they are, and dedicated. And also want to just a quick shout out to everyone on the forum also. And I know there's going to be more people who'll see podcasts like this who are very serious and who will make the transition to joining the group. And, you know, hopefully I'll be able to watch many more people achieve their goals in the years to come. So, yeah,
it's
a lot of gratitude.
I can't lie. It's one of the most rewarding parts of doing coaching is I get to see the stories, and like you do too. That's why I like the group coaching, because you get to see everybody else doing cool shit too. It's not just like you and me talking.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, that's exactly it. You see other people crushing things, doing things, like posting successes they're having every single week. And some of these guys, like, you can't meet people like this. You can't meet people who have had like 150 lays and are doing all these cool things. Then there's not, well, I'm sure they're out there, but you have to go to the right spaces, right? So, you know, there is that whole saying that you kind of become the people that you know. And I can say that it's really opened my horizons up a lot.
Good shit, man. Thank you again for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
It was a hell of a lot of fun, Andy, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to joining you live in the upcoming week. It'll be 4 a.m. my side, but I'll make it work.
Shit. Good shit, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, wonderful, brother. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated.
All right, that is the end recording. Of the podcast. Pretend that's the end.
Yes.
We can keep talking if you want to. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that interview. If you want to join my coaching program like Mac here has and have me absolutely get you the dating life you want, I will leave a link in the description below to my coaching. I want to make it clear that no matter where you're at, how much you're convinced that you can't change, just like he was, I promise you, you absolutely can. Let me, let the other guys in the group push you far beyond what you ever thought you could actually achieve. That's what we're there for. Hands up who's not a virgin.
Absolutely, man. I'm stoked.
Put your fucking hand up. There you go.